Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me. We're doing my second player interview of the week. I have junior Ava Yeagle from Monmouth Regional. Ava, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Are we excited that finally, next week we're going to be finally getting into some competition for basketball?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I usually talk about this, later on, but did you find it tough, teams getting ready to start and then Monmouth Regional, you guys find out that you're shut down for 2 weeks right before the season started?
It was definitely disappointing, but it kind of made it easier about the fact that it wasn't really a surprise. It wasn't like unpredictable, I guess. So that made the emotions easier. But yeah, it was disappointing because our season's already shortened. So the fact that we lost a couple games already.
Did you think, do you think you had, a little more of an advantage because you do play soccer and, you went through it already, where teams were canceling, you're getting ready to probably get on the bus and then you find out that the other team has to back out. Do you think that gives you a little bit of advantage going into, kind of knowing what to expect for the winter season?
Yeah, it made things more, I guess I'm more prepared.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, the last question before we get into basketball. Last year, how did you find the adjustment? One day you're in class and then the next day, you're doing virtual learning from home.
It was definitely difficult at first because it was a change and it was adjustment. We went from normal high school, sports, work, friends, and then just like not seeing anyone for months at a time. But then like now I think I'm okay with it. I'm not really having a difficult time. I've adjusted. Things have changed. I've accepted that.
How did the last question, last year, how did Monmouth Regional do it? Was it you had set times you had to go like on Zoom or Google Meet, or
Yeah.
did they send you something in the morning and just say, hey, this is what the assignments you have to get done?
Some classes did that, but it was
Okay.
like both. Like some
Okay.
classes would have us go on Google Meets or Zoom, and some classes would just assign us something in the morning.
I said this when I was doing the player interviews when COVID first hit pretty bad, is it gives you kids an advantage, for when you're going to college, you in 2 years, because that's how college is, some classes you're going to be there. And so it gives you kids a little bit of an advantage getting used to that, before you actually get, to the next level.
Yeah.
Now talking, talk basketball, background. When did you, how old were you when you first started playing basketball?
I'm gonna say like 8, because well, probably younger, but I just did like the town clinics. But I started doing rec, I'm gonna say in like 3rd grade.
How about other sports? What other sports did you play when you were younger?
I played soccer. I did track in middle school. I did tennis for about 20 minutes. I did softball for a few years. Rec. It wasn't. I hated softball. I think it was it.
Usually basketball and soccer players have a hard time with softball. It's a little too slow paced probably for
So boring.
when I wrote for the newspaper and I would dread having to cover softball or baseball, because I like, I coach soccer, I like the fast pace, obviously I love basketball too. Um, I know you play soccer for Monmouth Regional, you also play lacrosse, but when you were younger, what made you lean more towards basketball than soccer?
Um, Probably my height, honestly, because it made it easier to play, and I just had a passion for it.
Okay. Um, do you have any siblings?
I have a younger sister. She's 8.
Does she play any sports?
She not right now because
Okay.
there's not really much
Yeah.
going on. But
Yeah.
before everything, she played basketball and soccer.
Okay. Do you try to help her? Are you like a good older sister trying to help her out?
Try. Yeah, we have a basketball hoop outside, so sometimes we'll go outside.
I interviewed Bella Orlando yesterday, and she has two younger sisters, and she said the 11-year-old listens, but the 8-year-old I guess plays softball, and she's like, you don't know anything. Do you think your sister's going to be more receptive to you helping, or is she going to be one of those I can do it by my own thing?
Um, she goes on and off with that. She's both. There's some days where she'll let me. Some days she just is like, "Don't be near me."
Um, what have your parents meant to you in, your development or just, I know AAU takes a lot of time and driving, but what have your parents meant to you and how they affected in your development?
They're very supportive, and obviously they kind of have to be flexible with their schedules, which is very nice of them because I mean their schedules have to be flexible to mine,
Yeah.
which is sometimes a lot. So that means a lot.
Um, growing up, who was a role model of yours?
My parents, obviously, and probably Michelle Obama because she's very like interactive with supporting and educating women.
Yeah, that's great. There's definitely a lot of, you know, good role models like her. Unfortunately, Kobe was very supportive of women's sports and everything, and it's good. I ask that question every time. You're the first person to actually give somebody at that higher level a name. Impressive. Um, moving on, AAU. Who did you play for AAU?
I played for the Short Shots.
Short shots. Who's your coach?
I was Coach Lauren Ballard. I was with
Well,
Bella.
okay. Oh yeah, yeah, and Farrah was on the team, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, what how did I interviewed Lauren right before the season started, because she took over at Manawan, but what is she how did she help you in your development in basketball?
She was very supportive. And also she like if we did something wrong, she wasn't so hard on us to the point where we just didn't want to do it anymore. She was very helpful, gave very good constructive criticism.
Hang on, I'm turning my phone on.
It's okay.
Work work text. My day off too. Um, now moving to high school, what were some goals? You're going into school freshman year. It doesn't just have to be for basketball, but in 4 years, what were you hoping to accomplish at Monmouth Regional?
um, I'm like one of those people who doesn't want to ask for help. So a goal by the end of high school was to, I guess, improve on that and
Okay.
also to get straight A's and just be on all varsity sports by senior year.
Yeah, I guess I was going to bring this up a little bit, but how, I'm assuming you have a high grade point average.
Yeah.
What do you know what your grade point average is?
Um, weighted, it's like 5.5, I think.
That's something, I've had, I brought it up in other interviews that, when I was in high school, you either played sports or you were like a straight A student. You didn't both. And, you girls today, doing these interviews for almost a year now is just so impressive. That how do you find the time to balance, get straight A's, and in your case, you play basketball, lacrosse, and soccer. How do you find the time to balance that, the schoolwork and staying on top of your game?
I get it really just starts out with motivation. Like I have motivation. Like I have a very big fear of failure and not succeeding. So that motivates me to like do everything, get everything done. And sometimes there's those sleepless nights, but it all works out in the end.
That's yeah. I mean, it's just so impressive, and I have a soft spot for the multi-sport athletes. Because to this day and age, there's not it's not as popular as it was back when I was growing up or your father growing up. Now a lot of kids just stick one sport, and a lot of it's to do with coaches, trainers saying that that's what you have to do. But it's so impressive when I see a soccer player on the basketball court, or your case, you play lacrosse too, which that sport didn't exist when I was in high school. So just another avenue, and to me, that's a good way. Other sports help you. If basketball is your main sport, other sports help you. Stay on top, especially in the off season. Do you find that the case too?
Yeah, they all like basketball helps me with like angles and stuff, where lacrosse and soccer, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, and I know soccer players. You could see who soccer players just one by their defense on the basketball court and their footwork too.
Mhm.
And do you think you're a defensive-minded basketball player?
Yes. Yeah.
I know you had quite a bit of blocks last year, right? You did.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit that when we get to your sophomore year. So going into your freshman year, for basketball wise, any upperclassmen that you were able to lean on, or if you had questions, you were able to ask?
Yeah, there was Sophia Penn. She goes to I think St. John's in Queens, I think.
Yeah.
Um she was a senior when I was a freshman, and then there was Alyssa Hughes, Jill Vigil, they were juniors. They helped a lot.
Um, what were some highlights you had your freshman year for basketball?
Um I was on varsity as a freshman, which I guess is
Yeah,
a good achievement.
yeah.
There were a few games where I would score a lot. I had good amount of blocks freshman year.
Oh, so you did good defensively too your freshman year. Switching over to soccer briefly, who were some upperclassmen that helped you on the soccer field, your freshman year?
Julia Colvin, I've known her my whole life because my best friend Lauren is her younger sister who I've known since I was 5. So I've known Julia since I was like 5. So I could look up to her. Lauren Arneo, Abby Skubik, they're all seniors. They were very helpful with my development.
Do you think having a close friend, sister on the team helped you your freshman year in case you had nerves or something, you had somebody
Yeah,
there? Because
yeah.
I know how it is, as a freshman, especially when, you're playing varsity and it could be a little intimidating when you're on the court or, field with seniors that have been there and they're experienced. So that had, the advantage knowing some people. Um, what made you decide to play lacrosse?
I get bored easily. I have to do something like all year round. So I was like, let me just try lacrosse because I was not trying softball because I already did and I hated it. But yeah,
How about what made you do lacrosse? Because you mentioned you did track, right, in middle school? Is that
yeah.
what you did? What made you do lacrosse over track?
Um, I just did track to get in shape,
Okay.
but lacrosse also I feel like I would like it and I wanted to try it. So
Yeah, no, it's a lot of, soccer, especially soccer, you see a lot of crossover, to lacrosse. Um, moving to, last season for basketball, what were some goals you had last season and what was something you were hoping to improve on from your freshman year?
when I blocked shots, I used to swat a lot. I still do sometimes, but I wanted to improve on the blocks coming more naturally and not really needing to think about them because when you swat, you kind of need to think. When they come naturally, that it just happens and you don't care.
That's that's actually impressive that, something, most kids will say, shooting and other stuff, but, yours was, defense and, something you're already good at, you wanted to even get better at. So that's impressive. Um, what were some highlights you had last year? I know Monmouth Regional, you guys were in that division of death, I call it last year, but what were some highlights, you had last season?
I had a good amount of blocks. I'm not really sure how many, but I know there was a decent amount. Some games I had a pretty good amount of points. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that was a tough division, but I know you did get recognized by Greg Lerner for your interior defense, which anytime Greg recognizes anybody, it's impressive because Greg knows his stuff. Um, just talking soccer, who was the player that graduated last year?
Rania.
Rania. Yeah, sorry, I drew a blank. What it was like, because she's at South Carolina now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like playing with somebody, 30 goals, which is very, that's a she had. What was it like playing with a player, at that level in the soccer field, and what were you able to learn from her?
It was inspiring and motivating, and I learned because she was a very good person too. She wasn't cocky about anything. She wasn't like egotistical. She was very humble about everything. So I learned that from her. Don't get cocky.
That's good because you don't see it as much today as back in my day, but there was a couple games on a basketball court. Kids were, rubbed me a little wrong way. Being at a game and seeing kids a little cocky.
Yeah.
You just play the game. Now, just real quick, lacrosse. Basketball ended. Your team finished the season. What was your thoughts when you found out there was going to be no spring sports last year?
It was definitely disappointing because I mean, a lot of the girls on the basketball team also play lacrosse with me.
Mhm.
So the fact that I was just playing a sport with them and then I didn't see them for months, it was definitely a change. It was an adjustment and it was disappointing.
Now fast forward to, right before fall season, did you think soccer season was going to happen?
I was on and off about it. Same thing with basketball. I was very on and off about it. A part of me was like, Oh, they'll figure it out. I mean, it's been what, a year, 6 months from when it started. They'll figure it out. And then a part of me was like, there's no way.
Yeah, it was definitely, even just as a fan like me, it was definitely, roller coaster. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Is it? And, probably worse for, the coaches and, the players waiting, not knowing if the season was going to happen. There was some hope towards the end when, the summer leagues and the fall leagues were starting to happen, and, there was really no issues there. So, to me, that was a positive. And, I know for soccer, Good Sports runs a little summer thing, and there was no issues there. Um, so it had to be just a relief when you were finally able to get back on the
Yeah.
soccer field and playing. Um, being, you're a junior. Did you have many seniors on the soccer team this past?
Not really. I
Yeah.
think there were 4 or 5.
And similar basketball. Do you have any seniors on the basketball team?
There's a few. Yeah,
Okay.
there's 2 or 3.
Okay. Um, what, since, soccer, you're not many seniors and, you consider upperclassmen, what were some things that you wanted to pass on or, hope that the underclassmen, learn from you?
Definitely different leadership roles, how to handle them. And also I think laughing is a very big thing. Like if the energy, the mood isn't great in the room, I feel like you need to know how to lift it up. Somebody has to step up to lift everyone up. And I think laughing can really help with that.
Yeah. And, something similar, like, just at work, if you have that one person that, bad attitude or negative, it can kind of bring everyone else down. So, having that attitude and, knowing that, you might need to be the one that, to brighten up the mood, that says a lot about leadership just right there. Um, so basketball, your season is just about to start. What are some goals you have this year for the team?
For the team, honestly, just to stick together this season because anything could really happen at any moment. And, we want to, keep working just so for the next season we can be the best version of ourselves.
How long Coach Forbes, right? Coach Forbes. How long is she been there at Monmouth Regional?
I'm not positively sure.
Huh. But
For basketball, I think she started coaching. She was definitely there before I was
okay.
there, but I think there was also another guy before
Okay.
her. That was
What is what are some things that you've learned from her, or some things if she leans on you that you try to pass on, or her style that that she has?
definitely defensive stuff and being a post player. And I try to pass that on to other post players on the team.
I meant to ask this before. What position do you play in soccer?
In soccer, well, normally I I kind of rotate everywhere, but lately I've been playing defense because the angles from basketball help me with soccer on defense, and I know how to like cut people off because of basketball.
That's good. You're probably the first. I've interviewed a couple soccer and basketball players, but I see the similarities, and it's good that you're stressing how you intertwine them both and use them both to make yourself a better player, which shows you a lot that you don't just play the game. You work on how to get better at both and how to use both to get better.
Yeah.
Um, Going next year. Well, first of all, lacrosse. It looks like we're gonna have a full season. Does that excite you? Plus
Yeah,
a full postseason, which
yeah, and it's gonna
soccer
be
we didn't
more.
see that. Basketball, obviously we didn't see that. So that has to be a positive outlook, and getting together with the lacrosse team, right?
Yeah.
Um, Goals moving to your senior year. We'll start with soccer. What are some goals you have for your final season in soccer at Monmouth Regional?
Um, Probably just to win more, to just become a very close team, very, have good chemistry on the team.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's key. Having good chemistry it could be the difference because you could be a great team and have bad chemistry, and
Yeah.
I saw it last year in basketball, and it's a bigger factor than people. You have all the talent in the world, but if the chemistry isn't there, and people don't get along, it affects you. How about for basketball?
Basketball, stick together. That's like honestly my main thing because obviously our division's a little rough.
Yeah.
You know, just move on from those games that, you know, are lost by a lot. Don't put your head down from it.
Yeah, it's tough. And, the shore. It's like so much talent in the
Yeah.
shore. Even like I say like the middle level teams in the shore. They could dominate in other areas in the state, and it's just it's tough, and especially like we said, being stuck with Rumson, RBC, RBR. You up for some rapid fire questions?
Yeah.
Okay. First, what's your favorite subject?
Any science.
Science.
Yeah.
What's your favorite TV show?
Oh, I have a few. Grey's Anatomy, The 100, and The Morning Show.
The morning show. Grey's Anatomy seems to be the popular choice, and
Yeah.
that's been around for what, 20 years now, I think, close to.
2005, so 15.
Oh,
I think. Yeah.
why did I think longer? I mean, that's still, shows don't make it that long anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and it's impressive, kids, because how old were you when that show started?
One.
One. So
One.
it's impressive that you were one, and kids are watching that show now. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite movie?
Um, Either The Conjuring or Just Go With It. They're two
Just go.
opposite.
I love Just Go With It's great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song or band?
Right now is probably "Wouldn't It Be Nice" by the Beach Boys
Oh,
or "The
Beach
Sound of
Boys.
Sunshine." Yeah. Yeah.
You're making me feel younger. I like that. What's your favorite number?
Probably 6.
Is that any your sports numbers or?
No, I don't know. I just it gives me good vibes.
Uh, what is now you're very busy because you play 3 sports and everything. What is something you like to do in your free time, not sports related?
I like to play the ukulele. I surf. That's like kind of a sport, but
But
yeah.
but it's good. So you definitely keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, I like talking about future. You're looking at colleges and stuff. What are some things that you're looking at, like when you look at schools, like location, size, that kind of stuff? Like what
I
interests
want
you?
a big school. I want to be in a city. My reach is like UCLA and San Diego.
Oh, California.
Stretch, but yeah, I really want to go to California and like Miami, Tampa, places like that.
So somewhere warm too.
Somewhere warm and in
Yeah,
the city.
get out of this
Yes.
winter. Do you know what your major you
I
want your
either want
major?
to go into human biology or microbiological sciences and immunology.
Uh, it's something I would never. I I was not big into science when I was in school. I was good with math, but biology, chemistry, that stuff. Do you know what you want to be when you graduate?
Um, I, I can either go two ways. I've wanted to be a pediatric orthopedic surgeon, or I've always been fascinated by like diseases. That's where like the immunology major comes in. So I'd want to like work in a lab with diseases and stuff.
That's impressive. Those are some. I had back surgery years ago, so orthopedic surgery. I mean that's impressive. So when me and your dad get older, maybe you'd be fixing us up. Um, Last question, like, what advice would you give your younger self, or your sister, your younger sister?
Don't take anything for granted, because I mean, look at the
Yeah.
world now.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, with what's been going on, opened a lot of people's eyes,
Yeah.
because some way, even, some people, lucky enough that it only affected them where, sports got canceled, but a lot of people lost a lot of close, family members, and just like that, it happens. I was at a basketball game the day before, and the next day the state shut down, well, pretty much
No.
almost the whole country. So that's good advice. All right, Ava, I appreciate you joining me. I wish you and the team luck this season, and hopefully, I'm hearing maybe rumors that some fans might be allowed in a couple 2 weeks. That'd be great. Um, last thing, do you think it was an advantage that, I mean, it's not an advantage that you got shut down before the season started then compared to the middle? Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
because
Definitely.
it's definitely going to happen. Schools are going to get shut down
Yeah.
in the middle of the season. And did your team was your team able to complete soccer with any issues, or did you have
We didn't
reshuffling?
have to go off at all. We had no issues.
So that's that's lucky. And hopefully, knock on wood that, keeps getting better, which, numbers are starting to show, and we get through this. And by lacrosse season, everything will be semi back to normal and
Yeah.
no issues. So, all right. Ava, thank you again for joining me, and good luck basketball season, and good luck lacrosse, and I look forward to soccer season and getting out there and watching you play.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day.
You too.